doing the things that hurt you. And then he found that by thinking his directions of directing his head forward and up through his thinking and thinking about the width of his back and the length of his back and thinking of these directions of expansion instead of contraction, he was able to reach his full space in the world and to effortlessly project his voice. And it took him about 18 months to make this discovery, and then very quickly word spread, and other actors and like clergymen who would get clergyman's voice as they'd get hoarse on Sundays trying to preach, and eventually doctors heard about this, and soon he moved to London to teach his methods, and he was making the equivalent of $1 million a year teaching this technique in London about 110 years ago. He finally died in 1956, but not before training up several dozen teachers who've gone on to train more. There are about 4,000 Alexander Technique teachers in the world today. Many of them teach in the performing arts, so it's generally actors, musicians, public speakers, and people in performance who are the most likely to take Alexander Technique lessons.
Well, one simple little thing that helps me with the people that I notice are kind of tightened up is to simply go find a corner and put your hands, face the corner, get really close, get about 2 feet from the actual corner, okay? Put one of your feet forward and sort of do a slight lunge with both hands on opposite sides on opposite walls, and lunge forward and therefore stretching out. Because one problem that I have with, and I think a lot of people have this, is you tend to continually slump your shoulders and round them forward, okay? And if you do that for long enough, those muscles right here, our breast muscles, I'm fixing to pick you up, 918, our breast muscles tend to sort of stick that way. And you kind of, it'll help you if you open up that breathing, expand your chest. I mean, you know what I'm talking about? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. So that's one approach. As an Alexander teacher, I try to help a person spot their pattern of unnecessary compression and rounding, and to let it go and to stop doing that, and to instead thinking about the width of their chest and the width of their back and the length of their back. And by sending those directions to your back through your mind, through your thinking, you'll be able to slowly let go of these bad habits of compression and rounding, and instead replace them, by thinking about your width and your length.
Now, what do you think about chiropractors?
Wow. So many Alexander teachers are bitterly opposed to chiropractors most of the time. So certainly there is a place for chiropractors.
I was going to say that can be addicting. In my experience, they're addicting.
Yeah. Well, I had chiropractic, twice a week for several months because a friend of mine was a chiropractor, and he helped me out one time and said, I should go see him just to kind of pay him back. So yeah, it can be very addictive. So generally speaking, if you learn to let go of your habits of unnecessary muscular holding, your need for chiropractors will rapidly diminish. So some people may still need a chiropractor on occasion, but I think the most important thing is to address your habits that are deforming your musculature and causing you to want to go see a chiropractor. Now, the medical model is very different from the Alexander model. So when you see a chiropractor, an osteopath, or an acupuncturist, they fix you. You are passive. You just lie there, and they do things to you, and they take care of you. In an Alexander lesson, the pupil has to do almost everything. The teacher tries to bring his awareness to his habits, but the pupil has to do the work. So we use an educational model where we have a teacher and a student instead of a doctor and a patient. We don't view our students as patients. We don't fix them. We don't cure them. We don't diagnose them. We help them become aware of their habits of unnecessary compression and then show them how they can let them go. But they have to do a lot of work. So for people who just want to get fixed, some other modality will work better for them, because in Alexander technique, you're going to have to do a lot of work.
I was just saying the other day to a friend of mine on here that was asking me questions about radio. I got somewhat of a history in radio, and I said the best thing that you can do is listen to yourself. And the reason I say that is because you're talking about viewing yourself, and I think that never worked more than one night when my daughter was on my show. It's a very quick little short story, and she came upon a person that called in and just unleashed on her, cussing. And when she was forced, and we had to force her to listen to this. Some people are like, turn it off. No. You're going to listen to this, we said. This was 2 years ago. And once she listened to that, she was repulsed by listening to herself, like you're talking about viewing yourself. I think that is one of the most important things that you can do is look at what we see, and that right there alone will help you. I've often thought that's why dance studios have mirrors everywhere.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, watch yourself. Have you ever noticed the posture of a ballerina? It's just immaculate. Now, the posture of a Marine, he's forced to do that. He's made to do that. He's trained. Get your shoulders back, get your head up, get your all these different things. But I believe that our muscles will continually move our skeletal system around, which will cut off certain areas of oxygen, of blood, of things. Let me stop for one moment and bring on my co-host, who is affectionately called Bathtub Girl, because, and I'm going to let her tell you why, I nicknamed her Splash, and she's just adorable, and she's here on the board. Splash, are you there?
Yes, I am. I've enjoyed listening.
Isn't this fun? Look at what I did. Look at him.
I thought last night was good, but this was really good.
Gorgeous, too.
I like diction. I like speaking and focusing. And it's true about the, straightening your spinal column. That's absolutely true.
Tell him about you and what, this is, I told him, we've hit jackpot here,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Well, my name was on a conservative show on Blog Talk, and this lady, I'm in the bathtub a lot, like I'm in the bathtub right now. And this conservative lady didn't like what I had to say. She goes, well, bathtub girl, and she had a very nasal voice. And I was thinking, I like that, bathtub girl, that suits me. Because I have to take these off for my medical condition, and there's only so many books you can read in the bath, or poems to write, or whatever.
Tell me about your chronic pain and what you deal with your muscles and stuff like that. Yeah.
I have a rare form of lupus that affects my intestines and my reproductive organs. It's a rare form. I'm the 7th person in the world. The last one was in northern Italy that had a specific form of lupus. It's not your generic lupus. So I have a lot of problems with my muscles, a lot of inflammatory conditions. I have Hashimoto's disease, it's the thyroid, and it's inflammation of the thyroid. That's what I deal with on a day-to-day basis. It's worse in the summer. The sun makes it a lot worse for me. So is he there?
Yes, I'm listening, and it sounds like a real challenge. I mean, 1 in 7 people to have this disease. So, as an Alexander technique teacher, I don't diagnose people or pretend to cure or fix them, but the technique is very useful for quieting an overexcited nervous system, and the strain of dealing with something like what both of you are dealing with can really send our systems out of whack. So by learning to let go of ways that we're needlessly tensing and compressing ourselves, we can give our nervous system a chance to recharge and to calm down.
Well, that is so true, because I use this bathroom. I use candles and incense. I mean, I do everything to relax my body. Everything I can imagine, Yeah, I'm a writer, so sometimes when I write poetry, it just releases so much tension out of my body.
Everybody right now, no matter where you are, freeze, stop. What is your posture, except for Bathtub Girl? Freeze. Are your shoulders slump forward? Are you sitting up as straight as you possibly can? Are you breathing